watching Let's Chat.
Songbirds is probably the largest vintage guitar museum in the world.
What I've been really astounded by is the quality of the pieces they've collected.
You know, the notion of like trying to curate the world's greatest guitar collection.
I can't imagine in my wildest dreams that there could possibly be a collection of the magnitude of what I saw.
People that traveled from around the world, everybody that came here.
Yeah, do we have a green room? Yeah, it's worth about $4 million, so don't spill your beer on anything.
According to the World Economic Forum, the live music performance industry is expected to lose a total of $10 billion from a 6-month shutdown. And Songbirds is the next victim to this pandemic.
It has destroyed not just what we're doing here, but it's destroyed lives.
After losing, having that great loss, the first thing I wanted to do when I got back to Chattanooga was come here.
You will never see, in my opinion, anything like this again.
It was the greatest collection I've ever seen, and I was just happy to see it in my lifetime.
There is no greater collection. To be able to work in the middle of it, for artists to come in and play in the middle of it, they would come off stage saying, I knew I had to bring my A game because I could feel and sense the history in the room, and I had to step up to meet the challenge of all those guitars.
I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time at Songbirds Guitar Museum, and we are lucky enough to have the guy who put this documentary together and another guy who was very instrumental in the Songbirds Museum opening. Dagan Beckett, filmmaker, good to see you. Irv Berner, you were the original curator of Songbirds.
Right.
Wow. And I see you brought a guitar with you. You got to tell us a little bit about the history behind that guitar.
This is a 1964 Strat that we believe was sold in England because of the Fiesta red color. And you can see as the Fiesta red wore off, you see originally it was a sunburst guitar, black, red into yellow.
Wow.
And the reason for that was the biggest guitar player in England in the early 60s was a guy named Hank Marvin, who got the first Stratocaster in England in the early 60s that was Fiesta red. So every kid in England wanted Fiesta red.
Every guitar at Songbirds had a book or a book's worth of information associated with it. Dagan Beckett, you put this documentary together. You had a lot of help. I don't know how you called and put stuff on the cutting room floor.
I don't either.
What was it like putting this together from your personal perspective and your professional perspective?
Oh, it was incredibly humbling. It was educational. It was eye-opening. I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people in Chattanooga that got to really dig in deep into what that museum meant to so many people, especially the people who ran the place day to day and had that vision for what they wanted this guitar collection to be in the museum.
And you saw just a few of the names who have been through there over the years, and I was there when Vince Gill and a couple of other folks came by, and I asked Vince, what's it like seeing this place? And he went, hell, it's like my house, only there's a lot more of it. I mean, you could see he was like a kid in a candy store. What were some of the more unusual reactions you got from musicians that many of us would know as they stopped into the museum?
You know, it was interesting because they all had they all had almost like their different favorites. You know, it was interesting to see the museum through their eyes. You know, we had G.E. Smith come through with Jim Wider. G.E. Smith was the Saturday Night Live band for years, and Hall & Oates. And for him, it was all about the Telecasters. You know, Joe Bonamassa, you know, he went in and he saw this showcase of custom color Firebirds and stopped him in his tracks, you know, because he never saw so many in one place. Yeah. They're so rare.
It's certainly a wonderful, wonderful place. What gave you the idea to do this documentary? Calling it a documentary doesn't do it justice. It's a full-fledged film and a pretty darn good one. What gave you the idea to put this together?
Well, really, it was easy. Someone such as myself, who is a former musician, I was just a fan of the museum while I was here. I would go to the live shows, and I would take my camera gear and offer video services to some of the local artists and regional artists. And over the years, I just built up a reputation there, relationships with Johnny Smith and everybody. And I had heard it was closing just like everybody else. And I just called Johnny up one day and said, I don't know what I want to do, but I just want to do something. And he essentially just cut me off and said, mid-sentence, said, yes, whatever you need. And we just got together and we just started filming everything, and that was almost 2 years ago.
When the news broke here, it sucked all the oxygen out of the building. I mean, and this was during the beginning and the height of the pandemic, and it was like, no, that can't be happening. I asked the two of you, is there any possibility of the museum reopening as it was before the pandemic?
No, the Guitar Museum will not reopen the way it was. The foundation the Songbirds Foundation has taken over the space where they've created these wonderful new exhibits. I think catering more to a younger crowd, teaching about music history, how instruments work. And it's still, for me, the best room in town to hear live music.
Sure, it's an incredible facility to hear live music in. My next question is, it's back to you. Obviously, there were a lot of heavy hitters, well-known musicians, household names, if you will, that are in your film. Any of them say, no, I don't want to take part?
Not at all.
A lot of those folks are notoriously camera shy, but you have a certainly different subject matter here.
Not at all. Everybody we asked immediately said yes. The problem we actually ran into is we couldn't fit everybody in. For example, G.E. Smith was someone who was very interested and willing to be a part of it. Unfortunately, the scheduling just didn't line up with him during COVID. I believe he actually got COVID when we were scheduled to be up there. And so, I mean, it was just incredible just how much everybody just wanted to be a part of it.
How long is the film itself?
It's a little over an hour long.
How long did it take you to edit it together? How many weeks and months? Because something like that, you can't just do it start to finish. Once you get to a certain point, you got to walk away, recharge, and then go back and tackle it fresh.
Yeah, it was genuinely almost a 2-year process from beginning of production to delivering to our distributor. It was right at 2 years.
How do we see this incredible movie?
Great question. So it is available on video on demand starting Tuesday. Apple, Amazon. We would love some pre-orders if our audience, if our Chattanooga community and family, we would love pre-orders today, and they can do that by going to iTunes. They can go to our website, songbirdsfilm.com, and there's a direct link. You just click on it, and it takes you to the pre-order site. We love pre-orders. Pre-orders does wonders for us because that tells iTunes that this film is in demand, and then iTunes wants to boost it even more.
Absolutely. It's certainly an incredible labor of love. Hats off to you.
Thank
Irv,
you.
good to see you. Dagan, good to see you. And I know I'm not the first person to say this, and I won't be the last, but consider doing a sequel. No response necessary. We're back with more of Let's Chat coming up right after this.